Welcome to the Insurance Agents and Brokers Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the audio version of Claire-ification. Claire-ification is a bi-monthly guidance column in IA&B's primary agent magazine and is written by Claire Pantaloni, IA&B's Vice President of Advocacy. The question posed for the September 2025 column is, can I license a remote worker living abroad through a vendor? And the short answer is no, and here's why. Background: remote work and licensing. Since the pandemic, remote work has become common. Many agency owners now use remote workers to expand their talent pool or retain valued staff who relocate. For example, a licensed producer living in Nebraska can work for an agency based in Delaware or any other state by obtaining a non-resident license in the state where they will be selling, soliciting, or negotiating insurance. This setup is straightforward. Domestic versus international workers. However, the rules change when we talk about international remote workers. This FAQ addresses a key distinction. Can someone living abroad be licensed in the U.S. to sell insurance? And does citizenship play a role? U.S. producer licensing requirements. While licensing rules can vary slightly by state, these general requirements apply across the board. U.S. citizens can apply for a license in any state. Non-U.S. citizens must have valid work authorization in the U.S. This typically means providing proof of work eligibility, such as a green card, also known as Form I-551, or a valid I-9 form. What if I use a virtual assistant overseas? If you contract with a third-party vendor to hire a virtual assistant located outside the U.S., for example, someone working from the Philippines, they are not eligible to become a licensed producer. That's because they do not have authorization to work in the U.S., and that's a fundamental requirement for licensing. Even if some state statutes appear vague on this point, enforcement is a practical concern. Regulators must be able to hold licensed producers accountable, which is much easier when the individual is physically located in the country. State-specific example: Pennsylvania. Some states go a step further. For instance, Pennsylvania's producer licensing regulation requires that an individual applying for a resident license must either live in Pennsylvania or physically work in Pennsylvania. This means that if your employee lives in another state, they must get a resident license in that state and a non-resident license in Pennsylvania to work with your Pennsylvania agency. Bottom line, U.S. citizenship is not required to obtain a producer license. However, authorization to work in the U.S. is required. International virtual staff without U.S. work authorization cannot become licensed producers.
Insurance Agents and Brokers is the premier resource and champion for independent insurance agencies in Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Delaware. For more information, visit iabforme.com.
This is not a legal opinion and should not be relied upon as such. The intent is to provide a general background regarding the topic or topics discussed, not to provide legal advice. Producers and agencies should consult an attorney regarding specific situations and specific questions with respect to the topic or topics covered. Neither IA&B nor any of its employees shall be responsible for any errors or omissions regarding any statements made, nor any errors or omissions regarding any statutes, regulations, court rules, and/or any other government documents cited.